Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Everett. Happy Monday. I hope you had a good weekend. Last week and the week before, we talked about nomenclature and spent a little bit of time about how ionic bonds form and they gain or lose electrons to become stable, to have 8 valence electrons in its outer shell. This week, we're going to look at how covalent bonds or how molecules become stable. And all of our nonmetals are going to share electrons instead of gaining or losing. So one way we can draw these structures and show how this is happening is through these things called Lewis structures. And today I'm going to give you the steps on some of the basic ones. And then later this week, we're going to get into a few more complicated examples and a virtual lab that goes along with this. So step number 1 for constructing a Lewis structure is we need to find out how many valence electrons each atom is going to bring to the molecule. And we do that by looking at what group it is on the periodic table. So carbon is in group 4A, so it's going to bring 4 electrons. Fluorine is in group 7A, so it's going to bring 7 electrons. And we need to multiply that by 4 because I have 4 fluorines in my compound. So I have 28 electrons from my 4 fluorines and 4 from my carbon for 32 electrons total. So that's my first step. My second step is to put the element listed first in the middle. And I'm going to put my other fluorines around the outside. Okay, so step number 2 says to draw single bonds from each of the outer elements to the central atom. So I'm going to draw a line, and each line represents a bond. And each line represents 2 electrons. And so I'm going to keep a running tally of how many electrons I've used. So as I go, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. So that means I've used 8 electrons. So I have 24 electrons left. And again, those 8 electrons, if you kind of want to visualize it, there's 2 dots in each one of these lines. Okay, so that's what's happening there. I'll get rid of that. So my next step is to put remaining electrons around the outer atoms. So I have 24 electrons left. So I'm going to put 6 around each one because they're all sharing 2 already. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So now I've used 24 electrons. I have 0 left. So now I just need to double check to make sure each atom has 8 valence electrons. So carbon is sharing 4. So it's got 4 lines. Each line represents 2 electrons. So it has 8 through its 4 bonds. So it's happy. And each fluorine has 6 of its own and is sharing 2 for a total of 8. So therefore, this is the correct Lewis structure for CF4. So I'll do one more example with you to show steps number 3 and 4. So let's try NF3. So step number 1 says to count the total number of valence electrons. So N, I have 5, and F, I'm going to have 7 from each. So N is going to bring 5 electrons, and 3 fluorines is going to bring 21 electrons. And I get that from 3 times 7. So for 26 total electrons. Okay, so that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to put that first element in the middle. And for now, you can just kind of evenly space them out and draw single bonds to each. So now I've used up 2, 4, 6 electrons because each line represents 2. So I have 20 electrons left. Step number 3 says to put remaining electrons on the outer atoms to give a total of 8. So it's sharing 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it has 8 total, 6 of its own, sharing 2. So I've used 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So now I've used up 18 electrons, which means I have 2 left. And so step number 4 says any electrons that were not used up should be put on the central atom. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 electrons there. So now I've used up my 2 electrons for 0 remaining. Okay, and for now, that's all the steps we're going to do for today. So to check, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, nitrogen has 8 electrons. Fluorine has 6 of its own, sharing 2, 6 of its own, sharing 2, 6 of its own, sharing 2. So now we have a completed Lewis structure. Have a great day.